The Zephyrian Council had been very specific in their instructions. The Krillak, a creature of shadow and fury, standing 12 feet tall with claws that could rend steel, was to eliminate the human prisoner. Simple, clean, final. What, they found when they returned to the holding chamber 3 hours later, defied every expectation, every law of nature they thought they understood, and every assumption they'd made about the fragile species called humanity. The beast was curled up like an oversized cat, its massive head resting on the small human female's lap, while she gently scratched behind what appeared to be its ears. Both were fast asleep. "By the 7 moons," whispered Commander Vexthon, his 4 eyes blinking in sequence as he tried to process the scene. What? What has she done to it?" The human girl, Sarah Chen, age 19, captured during the failed defense of Colony Epsilon 7, opened her eyes at the sound of his voice. She didn't startle, didn't scramble away from the creature that should have been her executioner. Instead, she carefully shifted to avoid waking the Krillak and spoke in a voice barely above a whisper. "He was having nightmares," she said simply. "Bad ones. Kept thrashing and making these awful sounds. So I sang to him." The assembled Zephyrian officials stared in stunned silence. The Krillak was not an it or a he to them. It was a weapon, a tool of destruction bred in their war laboratories. It had no name, no gender, no identity beyond its purpose to kill. "You sang to it?" Subcommander Rilth stepped forward, his scaled face contorting in confusion. Sarah nodded, still keeping her voice low. "My grandmother used to sing me the same song when I had bad dreams. You are my sunshine." Funny thing, nightmares sound the same in any language, but so does comfort. The Krillak stirred slightly, and every Zephyrian in the room reached for their weapons. But the creature only nuzzled closer to Sarah's side, making a sound that was distinctly peaceful, content. "This is impossible," declared High Inquisitor Morgeth, his voice tight with disbelief. "The Krillak knows only violence. It was engineered to kill humans, yeah. I got that memo when you tossed me in here with him." Sarah's tone carried a hint of the steel that had made humanity such a persistent thorn in the Zephyrian Empire's side. "But here's the thing about nightmares, they don't discriminate. Turns out your perfect killing machine dreams about the things he's been forced to do. And in those dreams, he's not a monster. He's just scared." Commander Vexthon felt something cold settle in his stomach. "You're saying the creature experiences regret?" "I'm saying he experiences everything you do, just without anyone bothering to notice." Sarah's hand moved to stroke the beast's flank, and it rumbled softly in its sleep. "His name is Kess, by the way. Took me a while to figure that out. He doesn't speak standard, but he understands more than you think." The silence that followed was profound. The Krillak program had been the Empire's crowning achievement. Warriors bred without conscience, without hesitation, without the weakness of empathy that plagued lesser species. They were living weapons, nothing more. Except this one had a name. And dreams. And apparently an overwhelming need for someone to tell him that everything would be okay. "How did you—" Subcommander Rilth began. "How did I know he had nightmares?" "Because I have them too." Sarah's eyes met Vexthon's, and he saw something in them that made him step back involuntarily. Not fear, not hatred, but something far more dangerous, understanding. "The difference is, I had people who taught me that surviving something horrible doesn't make you horrible." Kess here never got that lesson. High Inquisitor Morgeth snarled, "Enough of this nonsense. Remove the human and reset the creature for proper termination protocols." But when 2 guards approached, the Krillak's eyes snapped open, not with the mindless fury they expected, but with something that looked remarkably like protective instinct. He shifted, placing his bulk between Sarah and the advancing Zephyrians, and let out a low growl that spoke not of programmed aggression, but of choice. "Stand down," Commander Vexthon ordered quietly. His guards looked at him in shock, but he ignored them, studying the impossible tableau before him. "How many others?" Sarah tilted her head. "How many other what? How many other Krillak have dreams?" The question hung in the air like a poison cloud. If one could experience conscience, could feel regret, could choose protection over destruction. "All of them," Sarah said with quiet certainty. "Every single one. They just needed someone to notice they were more than their programming, more than their scars, more than their purpose." Commander Vexthon looked at the creature that was supposed to be an unthinking weapon, now gently nuzzling the human girl who had seen past its manufactured nature to something deeper. He thought of the hundreds of Krillak in facilities across the Empire, all of them dreaming alone, all of them carrying the weight of their forced actions with no one to sing away their nightmares. The implications were staggering. The Empire's greatest weapons were not weapons at all. They were victims. And somehow this small human girl had accomplished what centuries of Zephyrian science could not. She had shown a Krillak that it was possible to choose kindness over killing. "Sir?" Sub-Commander Rilth waited for orders. Vex then watched Sarah hum softly as Kess settled back into sleep, his massive form utterly relaxed for perhaps the first time since his creation. The commander realized he was witnessing something that would reshape everything they thought they knew about consciousness, about engineering life, about the nature of choice itself. And it had all started with a human girl who refused to believe that anyone, or anything, was beyond redemption. "Schedule a full review of the Krillak program," he said finally. "All of them. And someone find out what that song was." In her cell, Sarah Chen continued humming, "You Are My Sunshine" to the galaxy's most feared predator, proving once again that humanity's greatest weapon had never been their technology or their stubbornness. It was their unshakable belief that everyone deserved someone to chase away the nightmares,